Hi everyone, this is the full video that we're going to learn how to set up a Next Saas Boilerplate with Supabase. So we're going to learn how to do authentications with Google and GitHub, and you're going to learn how to set up with React Query. And for the UI component, we're going to use a Shadcn. And last but not least, we're going to connect with Stripe that the user can do subscription and they can cancel that subscription as well. And then we're going to create a webhook that will call to the Supabase to update the user information regarding their subscription. All right, so I'm so excited to show you how to build this one. So let's get started. In this part, what we're going to do is to set up the installation and also build the Oz UI as well. All right, so don't forget to like and subscribe. So let's start coding. All right, so first we're going to install Next.js. You can go into Next.js documentation. So I'm going to copy this command right here and go in my terminal. I can paste and run this one. Right here, I'm going to press Y. Right here, you can give your project name. I'm going to name this one Next.js Supabase Boilerplate. And then we're going to use TypeScript, ESLint yes, Tailwind yes, source directory I'm going to choose no, this one yes, and this one no. All right, so after that we can go cd into next Supabase boilerplate, and then we can open with Visual Studio Code. All right, so this is the boilerplate that we just created, and so right now let's go back inside our documentation. So the next thing that we're going to do is to install a Shadcn. So for that you can go into Shadcn documentation and then search for right here, you can search for installation and choose Next.js. This part right here, we have done it already, so we can skip to this part. So right now I'm going to copy this one, choose npm, and we can come back right here. So I'm going to open my terminal right here, and then so I can paste this command and run this one. So right now, this is like the default to style, so we can choose any style. So I'm going to choose with the default, and this color, I'm going to choose Zinc right here. This one I'm choose yes. And so right now it will install everything that needed for us. Great. So the next thing that I wanted to do is to adding the dark mode to this one as well. So for that, let's go into the dark mode. So you can search for dark mode, choose Next.js, and we can do this one. So I'm going to copy this, choose npm, come back here. I can run this command again. So npm install next themes. So the next thing that we need to do here is we need to copy this one and create this file right here. Right now I'm going to copy this one and come back here inside our libs component right here. I'm going to create a file, themes provider .tsx. So then we can just paste this right here. So right now, let's go back inside the application and go into the layout. This is where we're going to use this one. So for this one, go into the documentation. So this is how to use it. Right now, I'm going to copy everything that we have here and then go inside our Visual Studio Code. And then I'm going to replace everything right here. So right here, we can remove this one. And so for this one, you can do control dot. So that, as you can see right now, we can select the file. So this is the theme provider that we just created, and we hit save. And also for this one, we need to suppression the warning as well. So hydration warning. So I'll do this one. And as of now, for the dark theme, this one, I'm going to choose the default as the dark theme as the default. Okay, great. So right now, we should be able to see this one. So I'm going to run npm run dev. So this will start on localhost 3000. And right now, let's go inside here and navigate into localhost 3000. So as you can see, this is our application and it's up and running. So the next thing that I wanted to do is to change the themes of our Shadcn. And if you go into the themes right here, you can choose any color that you want. You can customize it as well. So before we choose this color right here, and the default also the default. So you can choose the New York or default and any color that you want. And so right now, I'm gonna choose this color right here. And so the way to do that is just copy this one. Go back inside your Visual Studio Code and go to global CSS. And this is where we're going to replace everything that we have here. So right now, I'm going to replace the layer base right here. And then I remove this one and I just paste this one right here. And also I need to remove the darks as well, the dark theme for this. And we can just remove this one right here. So we hit save right now. We should be able to see this one. Very nice. And right now, let's install the button and then to check whether this setup is complete or not. Right now, let's go to button and let's go copy this one, npms, and open your Visual Studio Code terminal. Choose another terminal right here, so I can paste this command, so I can run this one. So right now it will install the button inside my application. And also you can see this one right here, very nice. So right now let's go inside the page here. I'm going to remove everything. And inside here, we're going to have to use the button that we just installed. And so we're going to do hello world. Let's hit save. And right now, let's navigate back right here. If I refresh this one, so as you can see, we should be able to see our button. So you can choose any style that you want right here. So with a different, any color that you want. All right, so right now let's create the OS UI. So for that, let's create a new page. I'm going to create the OS. And inside here, I'm going to create the page.tsx. And we can run a snippet OFC. So right now, let's hit save this one. Let's go back and then you can navigate into the OS page. So you can see right now we have this one. Nice. So the next thing that we're going to do, we're going to create the layout for our OS component. So for this one, I'm going to give this one a flex, item center, justify center with full height to screen. And because this one, we want to push everything to the center. And this is our OS component. So this is going to be, for now, I'm going to give the width of this one 46. And then height, this one also 96. We're going to do rounded MD. We're going to do border. And so we're going to do the p5 as well. So let's hit save. So we go back here. We should be able to see this. Very nice. So right now, let's going back here. So for this one, I'm going to give a text. And this one is going to be next plus Supabase. And then let's give it the style. I'm going to give the text of this one to 2XL. And the font of this one is going to be bold. And also for this one, we're going to have another text right here. It's going to be, let's say, register today. Register or sign in today. Maybe we can do this one or sign in as well. Register or /sign in today. And this one I can use the emoji. So for the emoji, I'm going to come back here. And right now we can copy. So if you are on Mac, you can just use your own emoji. So since I'm on Windows, this is how I do it. And right now let's hit save this one. If we go back right here, we should be able to see this. Okay, very nice. So right now let's add some icon and change this one. So for inside the next title right here, I want to add the icons. So for the icon, I'm going to use from the Lucid React. So this is auto install for you when you install Shadcn. If you go into your code right now and then search package.json, so as you can see, the Lucid React is in auto install for you. So for right now, I'm going to choose this icon right here and I can copy the JSX. Let's go back into our code and import this one. So I'm going to import this one right here. So right now we can just do control dot. This will auto import for me. And so right now I need to wrap around this one. So because these two need to be together, let's do class this one to flex. And then we're going to do item center. Let's do gap of this one to 2. And for the text right here, I'm going to do the text, this one to SM. And let's do the text gray of this one to 300. And for this one, I'm going to do the space Y of this one to 5. So right now, let's go back in here. So let's go back here so you can see we have this one. Very nice. So now let's create the button for us to log in. And so for that, I'm going to create another div right here. Or maybe we don't have to. So we can use, I think I messed up this one. And so for this one, we can use the button that we just installed. And so right now, this will auto import for me. Okay, I made the mistake here. So you can see this is auto import for me. So right here, we're going to do login with GitHubs. And I'm going to do another one, which is going to be login with Google. And so let's give a class name of this one. Let's give it a block. Width of this one is going to be full. And for the variant of this one, I'm going to choose it to be outline. So maybe I can just copy and paste this one. And then we can change this one later. Okay, really nice. So right now we should be able to see this. So for this one, let's add the logo to this one. And if you go here, if you go to GitHub, so if you search for this one, we have this, but I want another logo. So for this one, we can maybe use React's icons, and then we can search for the icons right here. So this is this one, and to install this, we can just copy this command, and let's go here and paste and run this one. And right now, let's search for Google icons. So as you can see, there's a lot of Google icon. I'm going to choose this one right here. So I'm going to copy this one, and then let's paste this one right here, and this is how we use this one. So I'm going to place it right beside the Google, and then we can do style. This one is going to be flex items center, and then let's do gap of this one to 2. Okay, I think maybe we don't need to use this one. Okay, so I think for that we need to add a div right here. And then for this one, let's do a flex of this one. And then let's gonna do the flex call. And let's do gap of this one to 5. Okay, so right now, if we go back here, so we should be able to see the same things. And so right now, let's try to add another icon for our GitHub. So for this one, let's do with the GitHub right here. And I'm gonna choose this one. So we can copy, and we can come back and paste this one. And we can do the same things. So maybe I can just copy and paste this one right here. And then I can just replace this file icon. And then we can do the GitHub right here. And now we can come back, and we should be able to see this. Very nice. So right now we have a lot of space left. So since for now we can focus on these two first, and later we can add more like a magic link. But for now, I'm gonna remove this high right here. So you can see we result in this right here. So right now, what I wanted to do next, I want to add the glow box to behind this one. So for that, as you can see, I found this one. I left the link in the description as well. So we're gonna add this glow box right here behind this one right here. So as of now, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna copy this, go into the global.css, and then I'm gonna create a new class. It's gonna be glow box, and then we can paste this one right here. So with this glow box, so we can come back here below this one. I'm going to create another div, and I'm going to give the class name of this one with the glow box. When we add that, we need to add this one with the relative. So now it will relative to this component, and this one we need to do the z index minus 10 as well to make sure this one is behind. And so right now, if we come back, so we can see there's a glow box right here. But right now we need to set the background to our box as well. Otherwise it will result in this one. So for this one, I'm going to give the color of this one. It's going to be BG slate, let's say 900. And as you can see right now, it looks something like this. Very nice. Okay, so I think that pretty much it. So as of now, later we can add more authentication method. But for now, we can skip this for now. Okay, so in the next part, we're going to work on the authentication between these two. All right, see you in the next part. All right, so in this part, we're going to set up with Supabase, and then we're going to do authentication with GitHub and Google as well. So to do that, first, we're going to create a Supabase project. So you can go into Supabase and create a new project. So I'm going to create a new here. I'm going to call this one Next.Supabase. And right here, we're going to generate the database password. So make sure you copy this one. And right here for the regions, right here, make sure it choose close to your regions. And right now, we click on create new projects. So right now, while our project is setting up, so we can go back inside our code right here, and then we're going to, I think we're going to create a new .env.local, and this is where we're going to store the database that you just create. You can put it right here as well. Okay, so now everything's almost complete. So the next thing is we're gonna do is to set up this one. So you can go into Supabase auth helper, but this one, as you can see, it is recommend to use the new package instead. So instead of the auth helper, so for that you can go into the migration doc. You can click on this link. It will redirect you to this page, but I suggest to go into the click on create client right here. All right, so right now you can open this one in the new tabs. All right, so this is what we need to do. So first we need to install this package right here. So we can just click copy this one, go back inside our code, and then we can run this one. So right now we can paste this command, and then we can press enter. So it will install the new package of Supabase. So and then we can come back here. So this is what we need to do. So I'm going to copy this one right here. We're going back, and then we can paste this one as well. Okay. So right now we need to add the Supabase URL and the anon key from Supabase. And so for that, let's go and check out our project. So look like everything is set up, is complete. And you can grab this one right here, go to API setting, go to API, and this is the project URL. You can copy this one. And then we can replace this one right here. And also we can copy this one, and we can replace this one right here. All right, so right now it's complete. So inside the libs folder right here, I'm going to create a new folder called Supabase, and right here I'm going to create this one. It's going to be server.ts, and another one is going to be called the browser.ts. Okay, so for the server, we're going to run this one on the server, and the browser we run on the browser. So to set up that one, it's really simple. We can go inside here. And for the create client, the same documentation, you can see right here, the create client. And this is for the client component and the server component. So this is for server. So I'm going to copy the code that we have here. And I'm going to create a function for this one. It's going to be export function Supabase server. And I can paste this one right here, the code that we just copy. And so we need to import the cookie. So I import the cookie from the header right here. This one I do control dot. It's importing from this package right here. And so right now for this function, we can just return this one. And right now this is ready to be used inside the Supabase server action and Next.js server action. Okay, great. So for our client, it's the same thing. We can go to client and we can just copy this one right here. And let's go. Oh, I think I forgot. I copied in the wrong file. So maybe we can remove this one, paste this one on the server. And I'm going to copy this one and paste it right here. But this one, I'm going to call this one Supabase browser. And we do not need this one. We can remove. And we can copy this one right here. And we can paste this one right here. Okay. So for this one, we can just returning this. We can return this one and make sure we import this one. I do control dot. As you can see, it's auto import for me. Very nice. So right now we have this Supabase browser and Supabase server right here that can be used inside the server or the client component. So right now let's try to do authentications with our GitHubs right here. So for that, let's go inside our page and we should have this login with GitHubs. So for this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new function. It's going to be handle login with OAuth. And then this one, the arrow function. And then we're going to call this one on the login with GitHub as well. So on click this one, we're going to call this one. And I think the same thing for Google as well. So I think so for that we need to pass the parameter to this one on the login with the OAuth. So we can do something like this and also this one as well. So for this one it's going to be GitHubs. And then for this one is going to be with Google. Okay. And right now we need to have get the provider, and our provider is going to be either GitHubs or gonna do our operator right here is gonna be Google. Okay, so if we hit save this one, and right now if we navigate back inside our auth page, so you can see this is error because the on-click right here is not exist inside the server page because this page right here is rendered from the server. So for this one, I'm gonna convert this one into the client component. I'm gonna use the client right here. So and so right now if we going back here, we should be able to see that this is okay. Great. So inside here, what we can do, we can call our Supabase. So I'm going to create a Supabase equal to Supabase, and we're going to use the browser. Since this is run on the browser, we're going to do Supabase browser right here. And I think I misspelled this one. This one should be Supabase browser. And then let's go to browser and make sure I change this one. Nice. And right here you can do Supabase .auth .sign in with the OAuth. And right here you need to give up the provider, and the provider right here we can pass the as a parameter that we have this one. Okay, and then we're gonna have the options. So right here I think we can do the options, and the option right here is going to be redirect to. So the redirect to right here is going to locations dot origin. The location origin here is equal to localhost 3000, or when you work with your deploy this one, it will be equal to your domain. And we need to change the code and confirm with the session. So for this one, we're going to create a new route. For now, I'm going to just do auth callback right here. Okay, auth callback. All right, so this is where it will be redirect to. And so for this, we need to create a new route called the callback right here. So for that, let's create a new folder called the callback. And inside here, we're going to do route.ts. Okay, so we should be able to see this one. And so right here, we can just copy and paste from the documentation. So if we go back inside here, if you scroll down to authentication with OAuth, and this is how to implement it. So this is like the route callback, so you can see. So we can just copy and paste this one. And we can paste this one. So basically everything here is just like, so when you redirect with login with GitHub or Google, it will redirect back to this page, to this route, and it will, let's say for the server component, so it will set up the cookie and things like that right here. And also it will change the code as well. If there's an error, we will redirect to an error. If not error, we will redirect to the page. And also if not, we can just return the error page. So we have the next parameter right here. So for example, when you call back right here, if you do next right here, let's say if you next is equal to, let's say slash anything, so it will redirect to that page. But for now, I'm gonna leave it as a blank. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So right now, let's try to set up the login with our GitHubs. So right now, if I try to log in here, there will be an error because in our Supabase dashboard, we haven't set up this one yet. So right now, let's go back inside our Supabase, go to authentication, go to provider. And so for GitHub right here, we need to click enable. So we need the client ID and the client secret for this one. So to get this one, we can go into the githubs.com. And right now you can go to your profile. I'm going to go to setting right here. Go to the developer setting and click on the OAuth apps, which is the new application. You can give any application you want. I'm going to do next Supabase. And the homepage right here, you can do localhost 3000. Description, it's optional. And this is the authorized callback. So this is where we need to copy from Supabase. I'll copy here and here. And right now, this one, I don't want to enable this one. So click on register. So right now you should be able to see we get the client ID. And so we can paste this one. And for the client secret, we need to click on generate a new one. And so right now we have the client secret here. And we can just copy and paste this one as well. And make sure you enable and hit save. Okay, so right now, if we go back to our application, and if we go back in here, so if I click on GitHub again, so on support provider is not enabled. All right, so look like there's something wrong. We have GitHubs and Google. So, and also we enable this one again. I think maybe we need to refresh this one and see. I click again. Okay, so right now for message provider is not enabled, but I already enabled here, right? You can see. Not sure why we have this error. So we got the provider. And I think for now, let's go and just add the provider with the GitHubs. I'm not sure why. Maybe I misspelled the provider here. No, look, not it's not like that. So maybe I can refresh this one again. Click on this one. Okay, so you can see it's working, but it's weird that I have to change this manually because because we want to pass this one, so we can use both GitHub and Google. And so right now let's try it again. Post/auth and click on GitHub. Okay, so everything is working. So now let's click on authorize right here. So, and then it will redirect back to the home page. Okay, so because if you look at the auth callback right here, it will redirect back to origin. So the origin will be our localhost 3000, or it will, if you deploy, it will be your domain. And now everything is complete. And if you're going back to the user right here, I think we can go into the auth user. So you can see we have this user already logged in right here. Very nice. So now let's do logins with the Google. So to log in with Google, you can go into the documentation, log in with Google right here. So first we need to create the consents with the Google first. You can go into configuration and go to credential right here. And so for this one, you need to create a new app. So as of now, I'm going to create a new project, this one. Let's call it with say Next Supabase. And let's click on create. So it will take some time to create your projects. Okay, right now, if you complete, you can click on this one. And right now, let's click on the credentials and click on the OAuth client ID. And right here, we're gonna create the config consent screen first. And now for this one, we're gonna choose external, click on create, the name, this one, you can name this whatever you want. I'm gonna name this one Next Supabase, and the email, which is, I'm going to choose this email. I'm going to skip all of this, and then we can click another email at the email right here again. And then right now let's hit save this one. And right now, so this is like the scopes and everything that we wanted to access. So for now, let's say what do you want when you log in with GitHub with Google. So I'm going to choose this two right here. I'm going to click on update. And let's hit save and continue. And for this one, let's just click on save and continue as well. And then let's go back to the dashboard. So right here, I'm gonna choose the publish my apps, so then we can test this one. Very nice. So right now, everything is good to go. So let's go into the credential. Create the credential, click on OAuth again. And now click on web applications. And here you can give this name. So I'm going to leave this as it is. And for this one, I'm going to choose the localhost 3000. And for the authorize redirect URL, and this one, we need to copy it from our Supabase dashboard. So for that, let's go into provider. Let's go into the Google right here and click on enable. And this is the auth callback. Copy this one. And we can come back here, we can paste. And I think I missed this one. Okay, I need to remove this space right here. So right now, let's click on create. So this one, it will give you the credential, for example, the client ID, the client secret. So I'm gonna copy this one. And this is the client ID. I can paste this one right here. And another one is gonna be client secret. And we can paste this one as well. So for this one, it's for Android, and the other thing, we can leave it as blank. And I think for this one, I'm gonna skip this one as well. So let's right now let's hit save. So right now our login Google is enabled. So as of now, to test this one, since I have only one user in my application, so I'm gonna remove the GitHub because my GitHub and my Gmail have the same Gmail. So I want to make sure everything is safe. So for this one, let's go inside the auth page, and let's go into the Google. And right now, as you can see, it will prompt your Google. And then let's click on login and just click this one as continue. So as you can see, it will redirect back. And if you look at back right here, everything is good to go. So we have the display name, we got email, and also the provider with Google as well. Okay, so now let's actually test what happened if we log in both with GitHub and Google. So right now, I'm going to click on login with GitHub right here. So it will do the login with GitHub. So it will redirect me to a homepage. So you can see everything is okay. So, but if you look at our dashboard right here, we have only one user. And because since the user have the same email, so if you use the first one to log in with Google and the second one with the GitHub, so both of this one will result in one record only, even though the provider is different. All right, so everything is good. So as of now, all right, so I think we complete. So in the next part, we're going to use this one, and then so we're gonna do the page protections, and also we're gonna do the logout as well. All right, so in this part, we're going to create the profiles table, and then we're gonna call the auth trigger to insert to that table. All right, so let's do that. So right here, you go into Supabase dashboard, go to table editor, create a new table. I'm gonna call this one profile. And this one is the ID of this one is going to be the UUID types, and this one will link into the auth, and let's go into the users table, and which the ID record, and the action is going to be cascade, and this cascade. So it's mean if we delete from the auth users table, this will also delete as well. Okay, so right now let's hit save this one. And so right now we can create 3 more columns, and for this one what I want is going to be email, another one is going to be a display name, and another one is going to be the image URL. Okay, image URL. And for this one, I'm not allowed nullable, and the other 2 is allowed nullable, because whenever we log in with GitHub or Google, some information is probably missing. Some user probably do not have the image URL. Some user may do not have like display name, but the email is gonna be sure they're gonna have. So that's why I make this one not nullable, and this one is allowed nullable. All right, so right now let's hit save this one. Okay, I think I forgot to assign the type of this one. Let's make sure that the assigned type is going to be text, and let's hit save this one. All right, so right now we have the profiles table. So our goal is whenever there's a new user sign up into here, we're going to automatically insert into this table. So the way that we do that is we're going to create a trigger function, and that will be called. So let's go into the database. And let's go into functions. So now we can create a new function. I can name this one create user on sign up, and the type of this one is going to be trigger. So because we're going to do the trigger, and for the argument is we can know. For the definition of this one, let's do begins and end. And so right now this one is just going to do insert into the public dot profile table that we just create with an ID, and we're gonna have the email, and we're gonna do display name, and also the image URL as well. This is all the field that we just created, and so insert with the values. And so where do you get the value? So the value, you can get it from the auth users table. So whenever there's a new record in here, we will insert into here, right? And so you can get information from this one. So right now, to get this information, you can try to run this one right here. You can run the select star from the auth user, so it will result in this. And if you want to see the record of this one, you can copy as a markdown or download as a CSV. You can come back here, you can paste this one, so you can see this is all we got. So we got every information like ID, role, and emails. And I think what we're interested in is this 2 right here, the raw apps metadata and the user metadata. So right now, let's try to fetch this one and see the information. So for example, if you fetch the raw apps metadata and you run this one, so you can see some of the user using the Google, and some of the user using GitHub, and some user using with emails. Okay, and then right here, if we fetch the raw user metadata instead, you can see the information such as their names, their emails, and also if you log in with Google, you will have the, I think it's going to be avatar URL, which is right here. And for if you log in with Google, you will have the picture right here. So right now, based on this information, we can use it to insert into our profiles table. And so right here, we need to do the condition as well. So we need to detect, okay, if the user log in with GitHub or if the user log in with Google, we're gonna insert with different value. If you can see right here, different provider will give you different app user metadata. So that's why right here we need to do condition. But as of now, we can skip that first, and we want to make sure that this one is running, and then we can come back and update this one. Okay, so to get the information that we get from here, what you can do inside here, you can do .new.id, and this is the new right here. It means the new record inside the auth user table. That's why it's new, and then we get the ID, and right here we get a new start raw underscore user meta underscore data, and to get the access to email, you can do something like this, and then we can do get an email right here. Okay, so right now I can copy this one and 1, 2, because we need this one. We need to add the comma right here. So this one, what we want is going to be the display name. And so right now I'm gonna do this one for GitHub. So for GitHub, it's gonna be the username. And the last one right here is going to be the avatar URL, okay? And so there's no comma at the end. So make sure we end this one with a semicolon. And also we make sure that return the new record back. So which is right here. Okay, so right now for the advanced setting right here, make sure to use the security definer. All right, so this is good to go. So right now let's hit save this one. So the next step that we're going to do is create a trigger for this function. All right, so to create a trigger for this one, you can go into the trigger tabs. And if you look at the schema right here, we can only create a new trigger from the dashboard, which is the UI right here, on the schema public only. So, but if you look at the auth users, auth table, auth schema, we cannot do it. So the way that we do that, you can use the SQL editor. You can go into SQL editor right here. So right now I already opened it in the new tabs. So for this one, you don't have to remember saying you can just ask AI from Supabase directly. So you can see they have the AI right here. So for example, I ask them to create a trigger on auth user tables. Let's just press enter this one. So as you can see, it will generate us the code right here. Just click accept. So right now we need to change a bit. So we need to so this one is create trigger, and this is going to be a trigger name. So you can name this whatever you want. So probably right now I'm going to change this one to create user on sign up instead. And this is the event, whether you want to call this one before or after. So I'm going to call this one after, and then whether you want to do the action update or delete, and then this one we're going to do insert. Okay, so it means after insert into the auth user table, and we're going to execute function. So which function are we going to call? Which is going to be this function right here. Okay, so right now let's hit run this one. Okay, so the auth, okay, I think I misspelled this one. So this one should be auth.user instead. Okay, so right now let's try to run this one again, and look like we have an error. Okay, auth user near syntax. Maybe we can try to debug with Supabase AI as well. Let's see what happened, and accept change. So look like there's not much for change. So it's the same thing, right? For trigger on sign up after insert on auth users. And let's try to run this one again. Okay, so now it's worked, thanks AI. So right now, if we going back into our database, we go into our trigger, and then if you go into the auth schema, so you can see we have this trigger that will be called whenever there's a new record inside the auth table right here. All right, so right now I'm going to remove this user right here from our GitHub's provider, this user. So right now, whenever there's a new record inside here, our goal is to have a new record inside the profile table as well. So let's do that. So I'm gonna come here, make sure I remove all the cookie from this one, remove here, reload, and let's navigate into our auth page and try to log in with GitHub right here. And so right now you can see everything, there's no error, so everything great. So, and right now there's a new record here. You can see provider with Google, GitHub. And if we go into the table editor, go to profile, very nice. So right now you can see we got the information like email, display name, and the image URL right here. Great. So right now let's test this one with Google as well. And let's go into the, I think, auth user right here. This is the login provider with Google. So right now let's delete this one. And very nice. So right here, I need to make sure I clear the cookie and everything as well. I'm going to remove this one. And let's go into the auth page for this one. Let's go into auth. And right now, let's try to log in with Google. So I hope this one, okay, it's okay. I see it's a surprise because I thought this one is going to be error because our trigger is aiming for the GitHub only, but this one is fine as well. I'm not sure why, surprisingly. All right, interesting. Okay, if we look at back right here, okay, we have this new record, and let's go into profile, and as you can see, okay, all right, that works. That worked really nice. But the only thing that we miss information is like the display name, but the other than that, it's okay. I think we can fix this one. All right, so let's try to fix this. So right now, let's go into the function, create this one, and this is where we need to fix this one for the username. I think we can do this one right here. So I'm gonna paste this one, and this one will result getting the null. So if we pass a two variable, a two value in here, it will result in one. If it's not null, it will result in that. So if you can see, this one will be null when we log in with Google, right? And so we can pass another one that will not null when we log in with Google, which is going to be, I believe this one is going to be name right here. Okay, so right now I hit confirm this one. So if you're going back, I'm going to do this. I'm going to delete this one as well. And let's try to relog in again. So I'm going to remove this one and reload. Let's go into our auth page and log in with Google. And as you can see, there's no error, and it will redirect me to a home page. And you can see here, and if we go into the profile, so you can see I have my name right here. And this is everything is working out great. All right, so okay, so I think that's pretty much it, guys. So in this part, so in the next part, we're gonna get this information, and then we're gonna display this one to our web page, and we're gonna do the logout of this user as well. And before I close this one, I like to mention that as of now, we're gonna do, because the trigger right here, as if we can see, this one is designed for using only for the login with Google's or GitHub's right here. Okay, but if you log in, if you try this one with different authenticate providers such as Discord and things like that, one thing that you need to make sure is that this information is available. This information right here is available, and you can do that by running the actual editor that I showed you before based on the provider that you log in with. So they will give you the information such as this information, so you can update and based on your application. Okay, and also probably in the next video, maybe in the next part, I will try to do another authentication with magic link or email and password, but as of now we can skip that first, and then we can focus on this first. Okay, all right, so for that, see you in the next video. All right, so in this part, we're going to set up with React Query. So as you can see right here, we're using the latest React Query, and which is v5. So right now you can go into the documentation. And so right here, we can scroll down to get started and then go into installation. And this is how to install it. So I'm going to use with npm. So I'm going to copy from this one and then open my Visual Studio Code, and then I can paste this one right here. So now it will import for me. And right here, I'm going to create the query provider, which is going to be query provider.tsx. So I will create a React query right here. So I'm going to do OFC, this one. And this one, I'm going to rename this one to query provider. And inside here, we're going to use a React query client provider. So which is going to be query client provider, which this one right here. And inside here, we're going to have the children's. And I think, yep, this one. And then we're going to pass this one as a prompt. And the children props types, this one is going to be, make sure I spell this one correctly. This one is going to be React Node. Okay. All right, so right here, it will need a client. So right now we need to create a React Query client. And so to do this one, we're going to create, this one is going to be as a state. Query client is going to be equal to use state. And then for this one, it's going to be a function that will return the new query client. Not this one, it's just new query client, okay, which is this one right here. And so we're going to give some option right here. So for the default option of this one, for all of the query, so what I wanted to do with this one is I'm going to set the style times to infinity. Okay, so style time infinity. So this one, it means whenever you fetch a data, and then it will go into cache. And then if you want to refresh the cache, either you invalidate the query or you refresh the page. But if you do not set the style time to infinity, so every time that you go into the page, it will do the refetch. Okay, so I wanted to it all the way read from the cache, and so that's why I set infinity. So you can tweak this parameter right here as you need, depend on your application. And so for this one, I'm gonna pass this one to the client. All right, so I think the last thing that we wanted to do is to install the dev tool. So let's go into the dev tool right here, and then we can do the same thing, which is gonna copy this one. I'm using with npm. I can paste, I install, and to use this one, it's really easy. So we can copy this one, and then we can call it down here. So right here, I can paste this one, and to use this one, I can put it below this one. And so for initial, I'm probably going to with fall as well. Okay, so for the initial, it's open, it's fall, and right now that's good to go. So right now, let's use this one inside our layout. And so I would like to wrap this one between our seams. So I'm gonna go with the query provider, which is the component that we just created. And then we can put it between this right here. So it's auto input for me right here, which is from this one. And that's good to go. So right now, if we go navigate back to our localhost 3000, if we refresh this one, okay, I see there's something wrong, which is we use the use state right here. We need to convert this one into the use client. Great. So right now, if we go back here, localhost 3000, if I refresh this one, so you can see all good to go. We also see the icon from the React query right here. Since right now we did not fetch anything, there's no state right here. All right, so right now let's creating and fetch the user information and create a navigation bar for this one. Okay, so now I'm going to go into the layout. Let's go back into our layout right here. I'm gonna wrap this layout, and we're gonna pass the children inside. So for this one, I'm gonna set the max width of this one. So let's go into the max width of this one to the 6 pixels only, and the min height of this one into screens. And then we're gonna do a max auto to make this one to center. Let's do py10, and then we're gonna do space y of this one to 10 as well. I think the space y probably not needed. And right here, I'm going to create the now bar. So I import a now bar. So for that, let's go into create a now bar first. And let's go into the now bar.tsx, and can run our snippets right here. And let's hit save. And then let's do control dot. This will auto import for me. And right now we should be able to see this one. If we navigate back, we should be able to see the now bar, and then we cap our max size of our layout right here. So right now, for the now bar right here, it's real simple. And then for this one, let's go with the H1 of the now bar. This is will be your logo. I'm gonna say logo or your name in here. Let's do text to this one to, let's say, XL, and then font this one to bold. And then this one is going to do flex, and then justify this one is going to be between, because if you wanted to push this one. And then let's do item center. And on the other side will be another one. It's going to be a profile component. So I'm going to do the profile right here. Oops. All right. So right now let's create a new component called profile.tsx. And then let's save this one. This one will do control dot. And right now, if we navigate back, we should be able to see this. Very nice. So as of now, our profile, I will render this one as a button, and then make sure it's auto import from here. And this one as I think the variant of this one, I'm gonna choose this one as an not a link, but as an outline. And then we're gonna do with sign in. Okay, so you can see right now this will be a link, so when we click it will navigate to our auth page. So let's go that. I'm gonna wrap this one inside a link component, and then right here, so this one will import it from the next link. and the href of this one will go into the auth page. Very nice. So right now, if I go here, if I click, and right now it's go back in here. So when I click in here, it should go back to the home page. So let's fix this one. On our navbar, we can do our link as well. From next link, I can cut this one. Let's do the href of this one into our home page. So now I click here, it came here, and very nice. Okay, I think for the layout right here, it's mess ups a little bit. So maybe you can fix this one. But for now, I don't really care much about this one. So, okay. So now we're going to render this one. So we need to fetch the user information and toggle between the sign in right here with the user profile instead. All right, so for that, I'm going to create a hook to fetch the user. And so we can use React query. So this one, I'm going to create a folder called hook. And this one is going to be called use user. And then we can do .tsx right here. So we can run our snippet and this one. So for this one, we can use a query from here. And for our query, we'll need two things. So the first one is going to be a query key. And so this one is going to be called user. And another one is going to be a query function. Okay. Oops, I missed this one, query function. And this is going to be an async function. So right now we can do something like this. And then we're going to return this one back to our use user. So inside here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fetch the user sessions. So first we need to import Supabase is going to be equal to await Supabase. I think we need to create Supabase first. So this one I'm going to use the Supabase browser. So this will be a client's component, and make sure that I use the client right here. And so to get the session is going to be const. We're going to get the data, and this one is going to be await Supabase.auth.get session. Since we use the await right here, make sure we do the async right here. Nice. So right now from here, we can be able to get the session of the user. So we can check right here if the data.sessions.user, if there's a user. So right here, we need to fetch the user information. So, okay. So I need to fetch the user information from this one, from the profile table. So for this one, let's do that. So we're going to do await Supabase dot from, and this one is going to be from the profiles table. And so as of now, we do not have the intelligence because we need to fetch the type from Supabase. I will do that in a moment. So right now, let's try to finish this first. And we're going to do select this one, and we're going to do select star. So this is going to be equal. We're going to fetch based on the ID, where it's going to be the data dot sessions dot user dot ID. Okay, so we fetch the profiles based on the ID from our session. Okay, so from here we should be able to get the user information. So we're gonna get the data, which is gonna be the user. So we can return this one, and then right here we can return the user information data, which is the user. Maybe I can this one right here. All right. So right now, if we hover on this one, we probably don't know the type of this one. So right now, let's try to generate the type from of our Supabase. So then we can give a better intelligence, and then we can see the type of the result of this one. All right. So to get the type of this one, so we can go inside here. We can search for, let's say, Supabase, and then it's going to be generate types. And the first link right here. So first you need to install this one, or you can run this one. So I'm going to copy this one. And then let's go and run this one right here, Supabase login. And this, if it will automatically like import and install the package, and just press enter right here. So you can see I press enter, it's automatically logged in for me. Nice. So the next thing that I wanted to do, I need to run this command. And I can paste right here. So right here, I need to create a folder. So this is when we generate the type, it will live inside the libs types supabase.ts. So right now I need to create a folder for that. We have the libs right here. And then so we need to create another folder called types. And then we need to link our with the project. So which is this one right here. So to get the project graph, you can go into your Supabase and go to settings, and then this is your reference ID. Click copy, and then you can paste right here. And now when you press enter, so this will create the file, and then you will see the type up right here. Okay. And so to use this one, you can go into the Supabase browser, and then we can go and reset the database, which is this one. So you can see this is import from our types, and you can do the same things for our server right here as well. So database, and okay, nice. So whenever you change, so for example, whenever you change something inside your table right here, or any schema or any function, if you change any column, you need to rerun the command, this command again, so in order to fetch the latest types, otherwise you will lose. So right now, if we hover on the data, so you can see this is the information that we get, and as you can see right now, it will result in the array. So because this one we want only a single only, so we can do dot single. And now we should be able to have this data. So what happened if it's fail? So what happened if we do not have a session? So for now, I'm gonna to return the same things of this one, but with a null value. So, and for here, let's say init user is gonna be equal to this. And then I'm gonna change this one to basically an empty string, all right? Okay, and now when we do not have any user, so we can return init user right here. So if we hover on this one, so when we call this function, so we will be able to get this information, okay? All right, great. So right now we can use this one inside our profiles table, but profile component, not table. Let's go into profile. So we can use this one. So we can use user, and then let's do this one. So right here, so we should be able to get the is fetching, and another one is going to be data. So if we go navigate back inside here, I think it's okay. So I need to convert this one into the client component as well. It's going to be use client. And now if you look at right here, so you can see we got the data, and if we look at the data, it's null. So because we need to log in. So right now, for example, if I'm logged in, for example, right here, I'm logged in with Google, this one. So it redirect me back here. And then if I click on this one, so you can see, okay, we do not have a data, which is weird. Okay, I'm not sure why we do not have a data. Is it? Okay, let's see. I see. So the reason that we do not have a data is because the profile table that we set up, we forgot to set up the policy for this one. And let's do that. So I'm gonna read this one. For now, I'm gonna be able to authenticate user, be able to read this one. And if you want them to read their own information only, you can set up that. But for now, my policy is like any authenticate user be able to read. And so for this one, let's click save policy. And if we go back in here, not this one, if I refresh, so right now I should be able to see the data. Okay, so there's something wrong with this one. Let's go in here and make sure, for example, if I click on console.log, the user information, okay? Now, if I go into inspect and the console.log, if I refresh this one, so we got null. Okay, not sure why we got null on this one. Is it like what about this data? Okay, we got a session. So you can see we do have a session, but for the user ID somehow it's null. Okay, it's weird. So we got this ID right here, right? Which is this information, and which is exactly the same. So we fetch from that, but somehow we not be able to get the user information. Okay. Did I set something wrong? This is correct. With ID and the session, user ID. Yes. And if you look at the network tabs, if I refresh this one, okay, we got an error right here. Request multiple row and return. It's weird. I see. So because the policy that we set right here, it's wrong. And I'm gonna delete this one because I set up a policy for insert instead of create read. I meant to use a template for insert, but the action should be do the read. And this one is true. And I allow only authenticate user to read this information. Then hit save this one. And if we navigate back right here, so we should be able to get the user data. If we scroll right here, so you can see this is the data information. Very nice. So right now, for this one, I can remove this console.log. Let's go into the profile. And so we can replace this one. So if it's fetching, I'm going to return an empty. So while it's fetching, it's return empty. So after it's not fetching, so we can say if there's a user, if data, let's say dot ID. If there's a data, maybe we can do not if it's not this one. So we can render. So we can render this one. Else we're gonna render, maybe for now I'm gonna add an h1 right here, which is going to be data dot okay, I think we need to do this one, and then this one is going to be, we're gonna render the data dot display name. I'll hit save. If we go back, so you can see we got the display name right here. Very nice. So instead of this one, so we're gonna render as an image instead. So for now, I'm going to render an image from next image. So we can have the source, and the source is gonna be data dot image URL, and then the all of this one is going to be the data dot display name. Okay, and we can do the question mark right here. I think for this one it can be null, so maybe we can do this. All right, and also this one as well, it can be null, so we can do this. And let's give the width of this one. I'm gonna give the width 50, height of this one to 50, and the class of this one to, let's say, round it to full. Round it full. All right, great. So right now there will be an error because we need to set up the host right here inside our next config. And so for that, let's go into next config. Let's go to image, and this one is going to be the, I think, remote. Yeah, remote pattern, and this is going to be an array of objects. So we're gonna have the host name, which is this one, and the protocol of this one is gonna be HTTPS. I think since we are here, we're gonna add another one for our GitHub as well. So if we look at the other profile, which is gonna be this one, right? I can copy the cell of this one, and this one is going to be avatar.com right here. So I can copy this. I can remove and replace this one right here. Very nice. Alright, so right now, since we changed this one, so we need to restart our server. So let's go inside here, and then I am going to restart the server. So I can do run npm run dev again. So now everything is ready. So let's go back in here, and let's try to refresh this one. And now we should be able to see this, but it did not. Okay. Profile, we display the image URL. Okay, not sure why it's not displaying the image URL. Okay, now it's back. So because I think it's stuck with fetching. Okay, that look good. All right, so very nice. So I think for this one, maybe we can set the height of our navbar. So let's say I'm gonna give the height of this one to, let's say, 20. Maybe, do we have height 20? Yeah. And now if we refresh this one, so you can see there's no chain or layout for our navbar. And for this one, we can give an animation when this one appear. So for that, let's go inside this one. I'm gonna go inside the Tailwind config. So let's add another keyframe animation right here. So we have this one. So I'm gonna give this one is gonna be called fade, and this one is gonna be prompt opacity. And then opacity 0, and this one is going to go into opacity 0. Not sure why we get this error right here. Opacity 1 right here. Okay. If you hover on this one, number is not okay. Maybe yeah, this one should be number, it's not a string, right? Okay. Maybe they require it to be a string. I can do 1 right here. Okay. All right. So right now, that's good to go. Let's go back inside here and let's go into our navbar profile. And this is where we're going to render. So we're going to do a class name. We're going to do the animation. I think I forgot to register it. So which is right here, which this one is going to be fade. And we're going to call the fade 1 second. Linear, and then it's going to be forward. Let's save this one and let's go inside our profile and let's use it. This one is going to be animation, fade, and it's same thing for our image. Okay, so right now when we refresh this one, it will empty, so when it's appear there will be a fade animation there. Okay, very nice. Alright, so I think that's pretty much it. So in the next video, we're going to implement the lockout and also do the page protection as well. So as you can see, the user is already logged in, but we can still be able to access this one. So this one I shouldn't be able to access. Alright, so in this part, we're going to do lockout and do page protection. So for that, first I'm going to go into the profile. And this is where we're going to do lockout. So for example, right here, when the user click on this one, I'm going to do lockout. And I think before we doing that, we need to fix and handle the small case. So for example, what happened if there's an image URL here is null, so we can render something else. So for that, I can do something like this. I can cut this one, put in a new component, and right here we can do another condition right here. So let's say data.image URL. So for example, if this one is null, okay, and for first this one, if it's not null, we can render the image. All right, but if it's null, so for example, if it's null, we're gonna render another one. I'm gonna put the div right here. So this one is gonna do the h1, and so I'm gonna get the email address. So data.email I'm gonna do with index 0. And for this one, it's the same thing. I'm gonna give the height of this one to 50 pixels. And then the width of this one to, let's say, 50 pixel as well. And then also I'm going to do the flex item center, and then we're going to do justify center. And also I'm going to give the ring of this one to 2 as well. Okay, I think same thing for this one. Let's give a ring of this one to 2. So let's imagine if the data, the image URL here is null. So I'm gonna make this one fail, and then so this one is gonna be null, and then it will render this one. Okay. So right now, if we're going back here, so we should be able to see this. Very nice. So maybe we can fix this one a bit, and then let's do the rounded this one to full, and then also the text this one to maybe 2XL, and then the font is gonna be bold. And right now, if you can see, this is look a lot better. All right, nice. So maybe I can change this one back to the right value. Nice. Okay, so right here we show the image, and okay, so right now let's do the lockout. So I'm gonna create another function called handle lockout, not login. And right here we're gonna call the Supabase is gonna be our Supabase browser right here. And for this one, the first one that I wanted to do is to clear all of the cache, everything from React query. So maybe we can import that. So it's going to be query client is going to be use query client, this one. And then right here, I'm going to do call the reset. Okay. Or maybe this one is going to be clear. So this is will clear everything. And then I'm going to call the Supabase .auth.sign out. I can do a wait right here, and then we need to do an async for this one. And then for this one, I'm going to import the router. So let's do the router equal to use router, And this one, make sure you import it from Next navigation. Go into router right here. I'm going to do router.refresh right here. Okay, nice. So now let's go into the lockout right here. And then we can call this one both on this one. All right. So when we on click in here, we're going to call the handle lockout. And then I'm going to make this one as a cursor to pointer. And same things for this one. And then let's give the cursor of this one to pointer as well. So for that, let's go into the cursor pointer. Great. So right now, as you can see, if I click on here, so you can see it now toggle back to sign in. If I refresh, the user is still signed in. And then we get the data here is going to be null. All right. So let's try it again. So maybe I'm going to run this one and then log in with our Google right here. And then it will redirect back, get my session, and then we got the data if I log out. So it's returned to this one. Very nice. That's good. So right now we complete our lockout. So right now let's do the page protection. So when the user is logged in. So for that, I need to log in again. And then I make sure that I cannot go back inside here. All right, so to do page protection, we can go into this documentation. And then let's go into the middleware right here. And right now I can just copy this one. And then let's go back and let's create a middleware. I'm going to create the middleware. This is middleware.ts, and then I can paste this one right here. And so right here, you can see this will do the refresh and things like that. As you can see, based on the documentation, only read cookie, the middleware example can use to refresh expire token before loading server component route. All right, so this is for the server component route. And so one thing we can use this one to do page protection. There's two ways that you can do. Either you can go inside the H page. Let's say before of each page, you can fetch the get the session, get user session. And then after that, you redirect them to any page. It's up to you. Or you can use the middleware, which I'm going to do here. So for here, maybe I can change this one to get the session instead. And then from here, we should be able to get the session from our user. And so here we need to check to see which path that the request is going to, because the middleware will run on every page that you request to, except the one that you put in here. So you can see match all the request paths except for the one that's starting with this one, and right here. This is your condition. If you don't want to the middleware to run on a specific page, you can opt into change into this one as well. Okay, so inside here, so we can check if whether the path name. So for that, let's get the path name. It's going to be const URL is going to be equal to new.url is going to be request.url. And then we can go into the console.log. And then we can log the URL.path name. Okay, so make sure you do this. So right now, if I go back in here, maybe if I refresh this one, and then if we go into the console.log, so as you can see, this is our path name, the OS path right here. So from here, we can check if there's a data.session, if there's a session, okay? And if, let's say, the URL.path names is equal to the /os. And so right here, we need to redirect them back to the home page. So it means you are logged in. But if you navigate to the OS page, we're going to redirect you back to the home page. So for that, I can copy the code right here. So this one is will next respond redirects to the home page right here. Okay. And so right here, else, if it's not, so we can just do returned. So if it's not right here, we can just do return respond. All right. Which exactly is this one. And then, so right here, we're going to do else if there's no session. And so this is like depend on the page that you want to protect. So maybe let's say if you do the URL path name, maybe let's say you have a dashboard. So I'm going to just try to pretend that we have a dashboard page. And if you try to access this one, so we're going to redirect you back to the OS page. So for example, right here, if you try to navigate to the dashboard and then since you do not have any session, so we will redirect you to the OS. But if for the other page, we can do just return the response right here. So maybe we can remove this one. Okay. So this one is good to go. So right now, since I am logged in, so if I try to refresh this one again, so you can see it will always redirect me back in here. And if I try to go auth right here, and so you can see, so the same thing for this one. So if we going to create another page, which is going to be, let's say, a dashboard, to the page.tsx, and I can run this one. And right now, if I try to navigate into the dashboard, since I'm already logged in, so I'll be able to see this one. Maybe I can change this one to dashboard. But for example, if I log in, if I log out, so this one should redirect me to the auth page instead. So you can see it redirect me back to the auth page. Okay. But as you can see, the URL here is wrong because we are on the auth page, but it showed the dashboard. So for that, we can fix this one. So I think the best way to fix this one, first, I need to create the constants. For this, I'm going to go into the, let's say, index, create this one. It's going to be index.ts. And let's go into create, let's say, the protected and the page, okay? Protected path, maybe. And this is going to be an array. So the path that we want to protect right now, let's go with the dashboard. And then maybe, let's say, if you have another path, you can put it right here. Maybe I'm going to create another page soon. We'll call this one called the profile. Okay. All right. So this is the protected path. So we can use this one first in the middleware, but we need to export this so that we can use it everywhere. Export. Okay. And then maybe I think this one should be uppercase since it's constant. Okay. So right here, instead of do equal, we can do this one instead. So let's go here, and then we're going to do dot include. All right, so I think make sure I do import this one. And then I'm going to do dot include. So if it's include this path name, and then we're going to do this one. And also we're going to redirect this one back with the next as well. So I'm going to do this one. Next is going to be plus equal to the URL dot path name. All right, so you can see. Very nice. So right now, let's say, for example, if I try to navigate into the dashboard, so as you can see right now, it will redirect me to the auth page plus with the dashboard as well. Okay. And the next operator, the next function will take me to the dashboard. And so for that, let's go into the auth page. And then for this one, so you can see, you can use the next and the next right here, and then you can use it right over here. So this one we're gonna do next is gonna be equal to, so we need to get a query param. So for that, let's go inside here, and then let's go inside the use search param right here, and then we should be able to get the params, and make sure that I import this one. I see this one need to be uppercase since we use the hook. And so this one, we're going to get the next. So then let's go into the params. So it's going to be next equal to params.next. Okay. Oh no, dot get next right here. And then so we can get the next value. So we can do the plus right here. All right, great. So right now it's going to go back in here. And so since I'm do this one, so if I log in again with Google, so after redirect, it will redirect me to the dashboard. Okay. So this will be do that. So, but if I try, maybe we can create the link navigation to that one. Go into the page. And then I'm going to create a couple links. So here, I'm going to do link. And then href this one. So make sure we import this one from next link. And the first one is going to be the dashboard. And the dashboard right here. Let's copy this. Another one that's probably we're gonna create soon is gonna be profile, which is gonna be profile. Maybe I can do something like this first. Okay, so right now let's go back. So if I try to go to dashboard, very nice. And if I try to log out, okay, it's changing, but as you can see, the URL here is still wrong. So this one is switch. It should switch to the URL that we supposed to be see, which is gonna be this one, right? And so the way that we do that, if we go into logout, we can be able to do this. So first, the way that we do is we can check if the path name is inside the protected path name. So, oh, maybe we can do this. So we can get the path name, path name is equal to use path name. And so right here, we can replace this one with the auth. So if the path name, maybe if that protected path dot includes inside the path name. All right. So if this is the case, so we're going to do router dot replace. It's going to be /auth, right? And then we're going to do next is going to be equal to plus the path name as well. And then I'll just replacing with the, I think maybe we can just replace this one with the auth page right here. Oops. Or maybe else we can just do the, we don't have to do, we don't have to do anything. Because for example, it's non-protected page, the user can still be able to see that page. So why bother doing that? So this is good for the protected page only. And right now, if I go into here, I go to the dashboard. It will redirect me to something like this. And if I try to log in again, it should redirect me to dashboard. Very nice. See now in the dashboard, if I log out, it redirect me to something like this. You can see, if I log in again, it redirect me back to dashboard. So to double check this one, maybe we can create another page, which is going to be called profile. And then we're going to do page.tsx OFC. And this is, we're gonna call this one h1 profile. And right now we go in here. So since I'm logged in, I should be able to get to the profile. But if I am logged out, I should redirect back to the auth page. And the next right here is gonna be profile. If I click on this one, it should redirect me to the profile page. Okay, that's good to go. So right now, if I log out from the homepage, as you can see, it still be the homepage because this page here is not protected. So it doesn't matter. So we don't have to redirect them to the auth. So, all right. So I think that's pretty much it for this one. All right. Hope you enjoy. Everyone, in this part, we're going to connect our Next.js and Supabase boilerplate with Stripe. So we're going to build a subscription component so the user can do subscribe, and then after that they can access to the subscription page. All right, so right here you can see this is like the boilerplate that we have done so far. And right now I'm going to create it into the new branch, which is going to be fit Stripe. So where we're going to connect with Stripe and this branch. And this is the boilerplate as of now. So for this part, we're going to focus on building the UI only. So for that, I'm going to go into component and I'm going to create a new folder. And for this one, I'm going to call this one subscription. And this one, I'm going to call this one as price.tsx, and I can run a snippet right here. So this will generate me. And for the sake of the tutorial, I prepared the data for our subscription component. So I'm going to paste this one right here. So this is really simple. So as you can see, we have the price array with the title. We have 3 options that the user can do subscribe to. We have the hobby plans, we have the description and the benefit of this one, and then the amount. And basically, this is like the same thing using the lorem right here. The benefit is the same. The difference is just the amount from one tier to another. If you want to build this to real like implementation, you probably need to change this amount right here to, let's say, based on your application. All right. So right now we have this one. So inside our app, let's go into our page. I think below this one, I'm going to import our price component. And let's do this one. If we come back here, as you can see, we were able to see this one. Very nice. So right now, let's go into this one. Let's create the component for this one. And we have another div. So this one, we're going to have, we're going to loop through price. So dot map. And then we can access the individual price. And then so we can return as another div right here. And the key of this one is going to be index. So I need to get it from here as well. I'm gonna get index right here. Okay, very nice. So inside here, what we're gonna have the first one is gonna be an h1, which is gonna be price.title, and another one which is going to be the price dot. This is going to be the amount, and we're gonna have the price.description. Okay, so price.description. So right now, we go back right here, we should be able to see something like this. Very nice. So right now we need to make this one into the grid. So I'm going to make this one as into 3 grid, which is going to be do grid, and then we're going to do grid call to 3, And right now, if you go back, as you can see, it looks really nice. Great. So let's add some gap of this one. I'm gonna add the gap of this one to 5. And the style of this one, I'm gonna give it like maybe a border and then round it to D. So you can see. And for this one, let's do it P5 as well. So then we'd have some spacing inside here. Great. So inside here, I'm gonna wrap this one with another div. And so I can give a space between this 3. So let's do space of this one to 3. And right now let's give the style of this one. So this one I'm gonna do tag to 2, maybe 2XL, font to bold. And same thing for this one as well. Text this one to 2XL and font to bold. And I think here we need to add a $sign because this is a price. And this one I'm gonna give the description, a class of tag to SM, and then the tag of this one is going to be gray 400. Okay. All right. So right now it looks something like this. So I think maybe we can increase the price text right here, maybe to 3. Okay, that look good. All right, great. So right now we can render the benefit. So we have this div. So I'm gonna add another div right here. So this one, and then right here we can do price dot benefit, and then we're gonna do the map of this one, so we can get individual benefit of this one, and with the index as well. And this one we're going to return with another div right here, and then this one will need a key, which is going to be index as well. So as of now, we can display the price benefit, which is going to be the benefit itself. Okay. So we go back, as you can see, it's rendered something like this. Really nice. And for this one, I'm going to keep a space of this one. So let's do the space Y of this one to 5. Okay, that's great. And right now, let's do some styling to this one as well. So for the benefit right here, I'm going to do the tag of this one to the SM and the tag of this one to gray 400 as well. And let's do some spacing between this. And then let's do space Y of this one to 3 as well. Okay. And make sure I hit save, space Y. Okay. All right. So it's, it looked like it's not giving, I see. So because we're looping through this one, so the space Y should be going to this one right here, right? So because this one, it will hold all of the list of the benefits. So that's why adding the space here will increase the space of this one. Really nice. So for this one, we can go into the icon, which is going to be the Lucid icon right here. So I can go for the check icon, which is this one right here. Click on copy JSX. And then we can use this one next to our benefit H1 right here. So we can just do this. And then since this one already installed, I can just do control dot. And right now it's auto import for me. So I need to do this one, let's do flex, item center, and then let's do gap of this 1 to 2. So if we go back, so you can see we have this really nice right here. Okay, great. So I think the last things that we need to do is to add the button, and this one is going to be getting, let's say getting started. And this one we can do auto import as well, so we can have our button here. And then let's do some style of this one. Let's do the width of this one to full. Okay, great. So right now we wanted to show once the price is popular, let's say we're gonna change the border of this one. So to emphasize that this price right here is popular, so that you should consider maybe like getting started with this one. So for that, I can create another div right here. Is gonna be is popular is gonna be equal to index is equal to 1. Okay. And so for this one, we can do like some conditional to our div right here. So for that, we can import our cn, and the C we can wrap around here. So this one we're gonna do if we're gonna do ring to 2, and then ring of this one to green 500 if it is popular. Okay, is popular. And if we go back, so as you can see right now we highlight only this column right here. Very nice, that's great. So I think we finished this one. So the next thing that we need to do is to make this one responsive. So if I go in here, so you can see this is not looking good. So for this one, maybe we can do the ups, and then we can do this one, and then otherwise we're gonna do crit call to 1. So as you can see right now, it's real responsive, which is great. Okay, so I think I like this one. So I think our price component right here is finished. So I think one last thing that I wanted to do, I'm going to create another page. Is gonna be equal to the subscription page, and let's do the page.tsx. And then we can run this one. So let's go inside the page right here. We're gonna have that page as well. So it's gonna be subscription, and the subscription right here. So right now, if I navigate to this page, so you can see this is subscription page. So our goal is, so whenever the user subscribe to each of the plan right here, we can access to this one. Otherwise, the user won't be able to access this one. So for that, we're gonna do that in the next video. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this part. So see you in the next part. All right, so right now we're going to create a product. So as you can see right here, I'm going to Stripe account. Make sure you create your Stripe account. And so right now, as you can see, I have set up just the basics for test mode. And so if I want to go live, I had to complete the second step and the third step, which I'm not going to do here because I'm going to do the test only. And so right now, as you can see, we are in testing mode. If we want to activate, you can do something like this, but we're not going to do that. So right now, let's create a product. Let's go to more, and let's go into product catalog. And this is my previous product I created before. I'm going to create a new product. So since we're going to have 3, first is going to be hobby, and you can add description or upload any image of your products, which I'm not going to do here. Or maybe we can add some description. So I can copy this one and add it right here, and we're going to do like a recurring, and then this one is going to be monthly payment, so the price is going to be $10. Okay, and so right now I'm going to add the products right here, and then we can add another 2 more, which is this one is going to be a pro, and the description of this one I can just copy here, and this is same things. This is recurring. It's one time, it's just like you pay only one time. This is going to be $20, and I'm going to add another product, and the last one is going to be enterprise, and this one just pays subscription, and this is like $100. All right, so right now we create this one. So after that, each of the product right here will have the price ID. So you can see we have the price ID here. So I'm going to copy of this one. So this is like the hobby. So let's go into our VS Code right here, go to price, and then I'm going to add to this one. So this is like a hobby. So we're going to have like a price ID, which is going to be a string for this one right here. And then we can copy the price ID of another plan, which is this one is pro. Let's copy this one, and let's go here, which is the price ID as well with this one, and another one is for enterprise. Let's go here and just copy. Okay, just copy this one, and right now we can do the same things for this one. It's going to be price ID. All right, so right now we have this price ID. So the next step is we're going to load the Stripe inside our application and be able to check out this price right here. All right, so right now we're going back to our VS Code, and then we're going to implement the checkout. So for that, let's go into the price. So right here, I'm going to create a new component inside the subscription right here. I'm going to call this one the checkout component, and this is going to be the client component. And so I can run the snippets right here. And so for this one, I can copy this button right here, and then we're going to replace with this one. And this one, we need to import this one as well. So for the checkout right here, we're going to need the price ID, and this one is going to be price ID, which is going to be typed going to string. So right here, we can go into this one, and then we're going to import our checkout component. So this one is going to be checkout, and then we're going to need the price ID. So the price ID that we just add earlier, and then we're going to do dot price ID right here. Great. So right now we have this one, so we need to create a function to be able to handle the checkout. So let's do handle checkout, and then we can call this function, which is going to be right here. Great. So the first thing that we need to do, we need to install the stripes library. So be able to do this one. So let's go inside here. So we're going to run npm I stripes. And another one is going to be the stripes right here, stripe.js right here as well. All right. So make sure you install this one. Great. So after that, I'm going to create the actions right here inside the libs. I'm going to create the action, and then the action right here is going to be stripe.ts. So this is where we're going to run the stripe on the server to do the checkout. So I'm going to do use server right here. And I think first we need to get the stripe public key and the secret key. So for that, let's go into the stripe and then go to developer. Go to API key. So right here, as you can see, we get the public key and the secret key. So let's copy this one and let's go into the env local. And for this one, so this is going to be next public and underscore striped. Make sure you spell it right. Striped pk. Okay. And this is going to be equal this one. And another one is going to be striped sk. So make sure you're not adding the next public inside the stripe secret key, because this one is secret. So that's why we don't want to expose. So next public, it means this is public and accessible inside the browser. And this is cannot be accessible inside the browser. So for this one, let's click reveal key and make sure we copy as well. All right, I'm going to do this one. Great. So now let's go back inside our stripes right here. I'm going to create a function. So let's go into export. Async function, and just function right here. This is going to be the checkout. And then for this one, so first we're going to import the stripe. So import stripe from stripe. And so we can create a stripe object. It's going to be stripe is going to be equal to new stripe. And then this one we need to get the secret key dot, and this is a key that we need to stripe sk right here. Okay, so we can just do this one to avoid, because this is like a TypeScript area. All right, so inside the checkout right here, we're going to need three things, which is going to be the email of the user who want to check out, which is going to be a string, and this is another one is going to be price ID, and the last one is going to be where after we check out where do you want to redirect to. This is going to be a string as well. Okay, so right here we can call to stripe dot checkout, and then we can do dot sessions. This one is going to be dot create. And so right here, you can, after we check out success, we can have the success URL. So where we're going to redirect to. So this is where we're going to use the redirect to right here. And if this path right here is not pass, so maybe we can add like some default value for this one, or we can just do all right here. This is going to be process.env.decide URL. So maybe I can create another one, which is going to be the site URL, which is going to be equal to http/localhost/3000. Okay, so basically this one is the site URL. So if you deploy this one on production, make sure to just to change this one, or adding this one to your deployment, let's say for example like Roselle and somewhere like that with the real value of your domain name. And so, yep, that's good to go. So this one, and another one is going to be the cancel URL as well. So I'm going to use the same value, which is this one. So after they cancel, we're going to redirect them to this one. And yeah, so, and another one is for this one is going to be the customer email, which is going to be the email that we pass right here. And another one is going to be the line items. And this is going to be an array. So we're going to have the items right here. So we're going to have like the price, which is going to be using the price ID, and another one is quantity, which is going to be 1. And the mod of this one is going to be subscription. Okay. Great. So right now we have this one, so we can do a wait, and from here we can have the session bags, and so we can pass this one to our checkout component, but this one is run on the client. So in order to pass this object right here to the client component, we need to stringify the objects, otherwise it's going to be some warning and error. So I'm going to do return.json.stringify this whole object right here. And yeah, that's good to go now. So make sure this is use server because this is a secret key. So we don't want to run this one on the client. And so this is going to be exposed to secret key. All right, so right now this is all set. So let's go inside the checkout. So right here, we going to call this checkout, but one thing that we need to do is that, so first we can do check if the user is logged in or not. So if they haven't logged in, we're gonna force them to log in first, and after that they can come back and do this one. So for that we can get the user information by getting the user state right here, and so from here we can get the data. I'm gonna name this one user, so we can check if there's a user, probably .id right here. And L, if there's no user, so we can redirect them or push them to the new page. So I'm going to do router, and then it's going to be use router. Make sure that you import the navigation from here. And then this one is going to be router dot push to the auth page. And then after they log in, we can do like next is going to be equal to location dot pass name. Okay. So right now we can try to test this one first. If we go back inside here, and right now I'm gonna try to log out. So as you can see, I'm logged out. And if I try to click on this one, so you can see it's forced me to the login page, and we have the next right here. So if I run this component from anywhere in the page, so the next right here will specify like the same path as that. So right now I click on login with GitHub. So this one will redirect me back to the home page. Great, so right now we've done successfully this one. So right now we need to implement the checkout here. So for this one, what I'm going to do, I'm going to call the checkout function that we just create, which is this one. So we're going to pass right here is going to be user.email. And then another one is going to be the price ID and the redirect back. So the redirect back, I'm going to do locations.origin. So this is going to be equivalent to localhost 3000. And if you run this one on production, this is going to be your domain name. If you want to redirect to any path, so we can just add like path right here. But for now, maybe we can just do with the location origin right here. So we can do await this one. So remember this one, we're going to return back as a string, right? So we need to pass this one. But first I need to fix the await right here by adding the asyncs. So this one we're going to do JSON.stringify this one right here. And so we're going to get back the object. So this is going to be data right here. Okay, great. So right now we can have the data like the sessions of checkout. So the next thing is we're going to load the stripes on our client component. So I'm going to do await right here. we're going to call load stripes, and which is imported from this library right here. And for this one, we need the public key process.env. And this one is going to be stripe pk right here. Okay. And so right now, make sure we do this one. So because we just, this is like a TypeScript error. And right now, after we load stripe, we're gonna get like the stripes right here. And so for this one, we can do stripe dot redirect to checkout. And so right here, we need to pass the session ID. So it's gonna be sessions ID, which is gonna be data.id right here. Okay, that we get from this one. And just type string. That's not okay. I think I forgot to pass this one. So this is not stringify, it's pass. So and right here we should be we'll do another await, and then we can get the result from this one. And so if we hover on this result, we can get an error if we have. So right here we can just use if rest.error. So as of now, I'm not importing any toss error, so I'm gonna do alert fail to checkout. All right. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this one. I think for this one, we need to do some loading as well. So when we click on checkout, but maybe we can test this one first if everything goes as planned or not. So right now, if I go back, so if I click on this one, so you can see it's redirect me to this one. And if I go back to cancel, it's come back here. If I check out on this price, so you can see this is like $10 per month. And just to make sure that everything good, our price like here 100. Nice. So right now we can test this one. So I can go with since this is like a test mode, so you can see this is test mode. So you can do like with the fake credit card, which is 4242 right here. And this is like you just make sure like you pass the valid year and date of this one. 1 2 3, and a card name. Let's say I'm gonna do testing 01. Okay, so right now it hit subscribe. So if this one is successfully, it will redirect back to the URL that we set, which is the redirect URL right here. So as you can see, since this is the localhost 3000, that's why it redirect me back to here. And right now everything is successfully. So we can check out this one, go to customer, and so you can see this is like a previous customer, but you can see this is like the name that I just said earlier, like the testing 01, which is this is the date that I call this one, and this is the time, which is great. So right now we be able to subscription and for this user to make right now try to improve more user experience. So you can see when I click on here, we should have some loading indicator that okay, this is being let's say something being called. So for that, let's adding the use state. Let's do const, maybe I'm gonna do some loading, and then set loading, and let's do use state equal to false. But when we calling this one, and I think maybe we can do this one, set loading, so this is gonna be true, and then this one is gonna be set loading to false. So yep, so right now, and then we can do this one. So this one I'm gonna import the loading, I think this library, so AI, I think, yeah, this one right here. This is from the React icon with the logo icon right here. And so we're gonna give a class name of this one, so which is I'm gonna use with the CN class. And then this one is gonna be the animation to spin. And then we can check if it is loading. We're gonna do block L, we're gonna do hidden of this one. And then this one we're gonna do flex, atom standard, and then the gap of this one to 2 as well. Alright, okay. Great, so right now we go back here, to back. Okay. Alright, so if I click on here, so you can see we have some loading indicator that, okay, this is being processed like that. Great. So I guess that's pretty much it. Maybe we can test, for example, we can add like the success page that after it's successfully, we can redirect to the success page. And so right now I'm going to create another page, which is going to be success page and .tsx, and let's do this one. And for this one, let's just do success. Okay. Maybe h1 right here, success. And then let's give a class name tag to which it's result font bold. So you can customize this page, but I'm not gonna do that. But just want to make sure that we redirect to success page. Right now, same thing. I'm gonna fill out this information. So you can see this is the name of test 02. So I'm gonna click on confirm process right here. And make sure that I check out testing 02. It's redirect, so you can see it's redirect to the success page. So you can customize this page as you want. And then, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So right now, if we're going back right here, so I think we need to refresh this page in order to see. So you can see we have testing 02. Great. So right now we be able to check out this information with Stripes, so the customer can be paid to us. But the next thing that we need to do is we need to store this information that the user have subscription and subscribe to our application. So we need to let them access to the subscription page and store their information, because otherwise right now there's no there's the separation between Stripe and our database. So let's do that. Alright, so right now we're going to create a webhook to listen to the Stripe event. So for that, let's go inside the app. I'm going to create a new folder called API. And inside here, I'm going to call this one webhook. And maybe I'm going to do another one is going to be Stripe as well. Okay, so we have 3 folder right here. And this is going to be the route.ts. So right here, I'm going to paste the boilerplate that I have here. So I'm going to explain you. So this is we're gonna import everything that we needed: stripes, next header, and the buffer right here. Since we're gonna get the raw body, so we're gonna pass it with the buffer, And so here we create a stripe initial stripe object using the stripe as secret. I think this key right here different from our, and because I just stripe sk right here, I'm gonna change this one. And this is like the stripe secret endpoint. And so for this one, we gonna to make sure that the connection between the stripe and our API is secure. So that's why we have this one. So I think I'm gonna need to add this key to our local env as well. And then to where do we get this one? So maybe we can come back and update that information. So this one, we can construct the header and then we get an event. So if not, we can have like some error and we respond this one. And this is where we're gonna listen to a different type of event from Stripe right here. So right so far this is the example that's from the Stripe subscription deleted. But right here we can, as you can see, if you do this one, we can give a lot of option that you can see with different event. Okay. So now I'm gonna change this one back. So right now, let's try to get the Stripe endpoint secret first. So to do that, let's go back inside your Stripe dashboard and go to the developer and go to webhooks. And this is where we can add our localhost listener. And if you want to deploy the production, we're gonna talk about that later. So gonna add local listener right here. So you can see this is like the endpoint secret that we need to use for our local. So I'm gonna copy this value right here, and then come back here so we can paste this one. So right now we're good to go with this one. So right now, what kind of event that we need to listen to for this one? So if you going back into the event right here, so this is like a different kind of events that will be called whenever we subscribe to the, and as you can see, we have like a session is not complete, or another one, I think for this one, we have like invoice payment succeed. So I'm gonna listen to this as invoice payment succeed right here. And so let's come back here so we can have like the invoice payment succeed. And for this one, that's good. So right now from here, we can be able to get an object from this one. So here I'm going to console.log. As of now, console.log is going to be events.data.object. So this is we get an object that's related to payment succeed. It is similar to here. So you can see whenever we subscribe to and then there's an event, this event is fired. This is all the object that we can be able to get. And so then we can be able to retrieve it right here. And so right now, so we need to run the Stripe local and our local. So to do that, let's go back inside the webhook again. And let's go at listener. So the thing that you need to do is you need to do Stripe forward right here. And so make sure you need to install Stripe first, CLI. So you can go into this link. And so it will go into the documentation and to download the Stripe. So I'm not sure this is the right doc. So maybe we can do like a Stripe download CLI. And I think this first link right here. So this is like if you're using with Homebrew, like on Mac, it's going to be easy. You can just follow this one. But if you're on Windows, you need to follow this documentation. Let's say, for example, here, you need to download the version that is matched to your operating system. So for example, this something like that. And so in my case, so you can see this is what I downloaded for the Stripe, and then I need to open this one. So I need to unzip this one and then put it right here. So and then I can run the cmd command. So after that, I should be able to get this right here. So right now, and I tested this one before, I can clear this one first. So maybe I can do like the stripes -v. So as you can see, I'll be able to run a Stripe. So make sure you be able to run this one, okay? So right now we're going to run the Stripe forward, and we can come back here. Copy this command, and then let's go back inside here. So where we're gonna forward it to? So this is going to forward into HTTP localhost, and I'm not sure, like I need to pass one. Let's test it out together as well. So this is gonna be 3000, and then we're gonna have the API, the webhook, and the last one is gonna be Stripe. Okay, so that right now let's try to run this one. So as you can see right now, everything is good to go because we create this API right here. So you can see API webhook Stripe, and there's no error right here. All right, so right now we are running this one. So the next step that we're going to do is to fire some event. So in order to do that, we can go and let this user check out again. So let's try to test this one. So I'm going to check out subscription again, click on this one. And so we get this information. So make sure you use fake credit card here. I'm going to just pass fake information. This is going to be test file. And let's do subscribes. And so right now it's processing. So okay, everything is complete. So if we go back in here, so as you can see, we should be able to get a different events and fire to this endpoint that we created. So the only we listening to is going to be invoice payment succeed, which is this one. So I believe if we go back in here, we go into console.log. So let's go into our log right here. So you can see we get the object that we get from here. Okay, so we get everything that we needed. So right now we have this information. So the next step that we're going to do is to, I think for this one, we're going to update the Supabase dashboard data table. So we need to create a table to store this information that related to this user. All right. All right, so right now we're going to create the subscription table to store the subscription status of the user. So before we doing that, I'm going to convert our profiles table right here, the field email, into the primary key and is unique as well. So because we're going to link this one with the subscription table. So let's do that. Right here, we're going to have the subscriptions table. And then inside here, I'm going to change this one to email instead, and the type of this one is going to be text. And so we can add the foreign key, the profile email, which going to the email here. We're going to do cascade as well. So this one, so whenever the profile table deleted, this field will be, this record will be deleted as well. So we're going to add more field here. So we're going to have the customer ID. So this is like the Stripe customer ID. And another one is going to be the subscriptions ID. And another one is going to be an ad. Okay, so right here we can go into type of this one text, and this one also text as well. And yeah, this one is going to be nullable. So this one we can update later from our webhooks. So when we have the event, so we can update and fill out this information right here. So I think that's pretty much it as of now. Let's hit save this one. All right, so right now what I wanted to do is whenever there's a new profile, when a new user is created, I wanted to have the field of subscription as well, but we're gonna insert only the email only. And for the rest of this ones, we can update it later when we listen from the webhooks. So in order to do that, we can go into the functions and create user on sign up right here and go inside here. So right now we only insert into this public profile. So we can insert another one, which is going to be insert into the subscription table. And the value that we're going to insert is going to be emails only. Okay. And which is this one. And so right now this is going to be new.email, and I can remove everything else. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. So right now we can hit confirm on this one. So right now let's go inside the profile, and we're going to delete the user and try to recreate the user again. So I'm going to go into this user and try to delete his profile. And right now let's go inside our localhost 3000 and try to log in again with the create a new user again. And right here, I'm going to click on sign in with GitHub right here. So you can see right now we successfully log in. And then if we look back inside our dashboard, so which is, I think, this one right here. And let's go inside the profile. So we have two profile right here. And if we go to subscription, we have this information. So the only thing that we need to do is to update this one when the payment is succeed. All right, so right now we're going to update our subscription table when a payment is succeed. So the first step that I'm going to do is I'm going to generate a new type of this table that we just create, which is subscription table. And so I'm going to run this command right here. And so in order to update the subscription table, so if you look at right here, we do not enable any row security level at all. So it means no one can just go and update the subscription table, right? So because we disable this one because we don't want the user can just come in and update the information right here. So in order to update this one, we're going to use the service role key. So we go to API and then the service role key right here. So this is equivalent to the admin key because they have you can see this will bypass the role security level and never share this one to publicly. Okay, and so right now we're gonna copy this one and make sure we put this one in the local env. I have added already. I call this one Supabase admin, and notice that this one is not public, so that's why we do not have the next public start of this one. And make sure this one run on the server only. We never expose this one to the client and to the browser. All right, so right now we have this key. So the next step that we need to do is we need to create the admin client. So far we have the browser and then the server. So right now I'm going to create another one. It's going to be this one, and so I can just copy everything from this one and paste it right here. Great. So right now I'm remove this one. I'm going to call this one use server. Make sure that everything here run on a server, and then just Supabase admin. And right here I'm going to remove everything here. So for this one I can just do with the async, but because we use with the server, we need to make sure that this function is an async function. Great. So right now let's try to create an admin, and so for that we can go into the documentation. You can do Supabase let's say admin, and the first link right here will be show you how to set up that. So this one, let's just copy and come back here. I think we need to cut this one on top. And so we need the Supabase URL, which is this one. And so we're going to do process.env.this one. And another one is going to be the Supabase admin key right here. So it's going to be process.env.this one. And then we're going to do this to avoid TypeScript error. And after that, we can just return the Supabase right here. Okay. So right now we have our Supabase admin. So let's go back inside our webhook right here. So I'm going to store this one inside as a result. And this one right here. And right now we need to import our Supabase admin. So I'm going to do const Supabase equal to Supabase admin. Oops, not this one. This one is going to be Supabase admin. And we need to do await of this one as well, since this is an async function. So right now, I think I forgot to add the type of this one. So we can do data base. Nice. And then we can come back here. We can do Supabase dot from. As you can see, we get subscription. And then we're gonna do insert into this one. So let's do insert. And we get the type. So this is gonna be an add. And then we're going to do the customer, and another one is going to be, I think this is not insert, this is going to be update, right? So we update and add customer, and then another one is going to be the subscription ID. Great. And then we're going to do this one dot equal. We're going to do the email, the email here with the email that we get. So, all right. So where do we get this information? So I'm going to do this one right here. So first is going to be an add right here. So it's going to be equal to result. So if you look at this information, go to event, and this is like the payment succeed. So this is like the object that we get. So in order to get the an add right here, we need to go to line data, and then we can go to period right here. This is the an add value. And so we can copy this value, and let me show you what it's like. So we inspect, and then I think I run it before. Yeah, this is value right here. So I can paste this value, and then we need to time 1,000 of this one to get the real date. So you can see the end subscription date will be next month from today. So because today I run this one on 16 on February, and this is on March. Great. So we can get this one. So this is going to be line dot data and then index 0, and then we're going to do dot periods dot end. Okay, and so we need to convert this one to the date. So we're going to new dot date this one, and then we need this one to time 1,000, and then we're going to do dot to ISO string. Okay, great. So right now we have the add, and another one is going to be the customer ID. So it's going to be result.customer, and this one we're going to do as a string as well. So the reason that I do not call this one directly here, because I need to cast the type of this one. So okay, so another one is subscription ID is going to be equal to result.subscription, and I guess this one right here, and I'm going to make this one as a string as well. Great. So this one we need gonna do is equal, and so for this one we need to get the customer email. So this is gonna be email is gonna be equal to result dot customer email. This one as a string, and then we can add the email right here. So right now this is will update, and then let's do the await right here, and then we're gonna have the result. I'm gonna get the error from here only, so we can check if there's an error, and we can respond back with an error, which is this one. So right now I can do the error dot maybe message, and also I'm gonna do the console.log as well, so then we can easily debug if there's an error. Okay, I think that's pretty much it for this one. And if we go back inside our Supabase dashboard right here, and let's go inside this one, database and subscription. I think I messed up with the and add, because this one should be date instead of text. I'm gonna update this one to type date instead. Okay, right now let's hit save this one, and if we go back right here, okay, I think that should be all good to go. I think since I update this one, I need to fetch this one again as well, so we can update the type of this one. Okay, great. So I think everything is good. So right now let's try to test this one again. Go here, go click on getting started, and we're gonna fill out this information. All right, so right here you can see it's success. It's returned our success page. Everything good to go. And let's check out the subscription. As you can see, we update this one. As you can see, also we update the end date as well. So as you can see, this is 1 month from now, the end date subscription right here. So whenever there's a new subscription, we going to update this one only. Okay. All right, I think that's pretty much it. That's great. So yeah, so in the next part, what we're gonna do is to, based on this information, we're going to use this one to render and fill out some, let's say, getting the user be able to get some protected data that only the subscription user be able to get. All right. All right, so in this part, we're going to work on render the UI when the user subscribe already. So for example, they go to the subscription page, they can see the data, and if they haven't subscribed, we can show them like the price that they need to subscribe and things like that. And so let's go inside here. So the first, we're going to fetch the user information and to check if they subscribe already. So you can go into use user hook, and right here we can get the, let's say, I think the subscription table. So since there's a relationship to each other, so we can add the star right here. And if we going back, if we refresh this one, and if we look at the query right here, we should be able to see the subscription. But right now we get null. The reason because of the policy of the subscription table. So let's go and update the policy. So I click on new policy, this one. And so for this one, I allow only the user to read only, and they can read only their own information only. So for that, I think we can choose this template, the update one. And then after that, we can copy this one and go to select. So right here, as you can see, this is allow only the user email. So because the email right here is a unique ID, so that's why we can check allow only them to read their own ID, let's say the information only. And this one is going to be authenticated. All right, and this is going to be read, and let's hit preview and hit save this one. So right now, if we go back and I've clicked on invalidate this one, so you can see we should be able to get the information such as the end date, the email, and everything right here. Great. So right now we can use this information and go into the subscription page. And so far this is what we render. So for this, there's a lot of different way to, let's say, render the page data. So I'm going to show you first. It's going to based on the client render. So I'm going to make this page as the use client. Okay, and so this one we're going to fetch the user information. So we're going to be user, and so for this one we can do this, and we can get the data, and I'm going to change the name of this one to user. This one needs to be uppercase since we use the hook right here. So right here we can get is loading as well. And if it is loading, so we can just return null. Okay, I'm gonna return the empty fragment, and you can add an indicator as well. So right here we can check if it is active. And so we can do the user dot subscription. So right now the IntelliSense right here, maybe I need to add the types to our subscription user right here. So if we hover on this one, so we can be able to get the type of the subscription. So I'm going to copy this information right here, and I'm going to paste this one. So right now I'm going to change this one to empty. This is empty as well. And this is going to be empty string. This is like the initial user. So let's do this one empty, and the last one is empty as well. Okay. All right. Let it save. So we go back right here. We should be able to do dot and subscription and dot and add right here. So first we're going to check if there's no value. So if it's this one is empty, so the active is going to be false. Else we can check if the new date, since this is a date string, right? So we can do user dot subscriptions dot and add is bigger than the new date. Okay. And right now this is going to show us an active or not. And so this is depend on like how you display this page. So maybe you can say like this is subscription page and things like that. And so right here we're gonna render. We can check if it is active. So and then we're gonna show them like some other component that you need to fetch. So for example, I'm going to create a new component called post. And right here. So right now I'm gonna use the post right here. And else if it's not, I'm gonna show them the another component. The div right here. Okay. And make sure I import this post component, and this one is going to be the price component. Okay, great. So right now the post right here, let's say this is like this is like the where you show the protected data. This is protected data. So later on we're gonna use this one to fetch the data, but as of now we can just render it first. So we're going back right now. I think if I go to the page, I misspelled the use client. Okay, let's save this one. So going here, refresh this one, so you can see this is subscription page and this is protecting data. So this is like the title of a page, and since the user is active, that's why we be able to see the post right here. Otherwise we will see the price component. So for example, if I come back here and let's update the user subscription right here, and the end date, this one, I'm gonna add the end date. Let's change to the next month, maybe January instead. Nope, not this one. So January, this one. Okay, so I hit save this one. So if we go back right here, if I invalidate the data again, so invalidate the data, so you can see we have this data, we have this component right here. So maybe we can add some information. Let's say you need to subscribe to see the data. Okay, and maybe we add some styling. So maybe text center, and then text to 3XL, font to bold, and have some spaces one, so space Y to 5, and I'm gonna add the space between this. Maybe it's all right, I guess this one. Okay, so you can see we need to do you need to subscribe first to see the data, and this is just maybe we can remove this one, it's fine. Okay, so yeah, that pretty much it. So right now let's try to test this one again. So when I subscribe this one, and then I'm gonna fill out the information here. So you can see we success. If we go back to our subscription page, so you can see we be able to see the protected data and not the price to our check-in. So one thing that we can update this one, so you can see whenever we check out, it's return redirect to success page, right? So we can change this one to, let's say, if you check out from the subscription component of this one subscription page, so when the redirect back, it should redirect back to the subscription page. So for that, let's go inside the checkout component. And then for this one, as you can see, this is where we're gonna render. So one thing that we can do is we can render where it's being called. So this is gonna be location.origin, and I'm gonna do locations dot pass name instead. So this is going to be plus. So this is where we're going to redirect to after success. So right now, let's try to do the subscription again. So for example, I'm going to go back here and then I'm going to update the date again. So let's do this date, save this one, refresh this one. And right now we add a subscription page. So if I go into subscribe to one of this one, and I'm going to fill out this information here. Alright, so as you can see, we redirect back to subscription page. Okay, so the next step that we need to do is to be able to fetch the data from our database. So I think in the next step, we're going to create a new table to store our post data, and then we're going to fetch those data inside this component right here. Alright, so right now I'm going to create a new table called post, and this table is going to be example only. And if you work on a real application, you probably work on a different name of this different table. And the goal of this table is to demonstrate you how to protect the data for authenticate user and also the data for the subscription user. Okay, so right here I'm going to make this one really simple. And we have this one, and let's do text as well. And the type of this one is going to be text, and let's hit save. So right now I'm going to insert into the new record inside this one. Let's say testing, and let's hit save this one. So for the policy as of now, for this table, I'm going to allow read this one is to be true and authenticated. So it means every authenticated user be able to read this post right here. So later on, we can come back and update only allow only subscription user. As of now, let's go back inside our code and try to fetch this data. And so right here, I'm going to make this one as just 2 example. I'm going to make this one as a use effect instead. And so use effect right here. So I'm going to create a function called get post. Oops, and this one. And so we're going to get our Supabase. So Supabase is equal to Supabase browser. And then we can have like a Supabase dot from post. And then we're going to do select star. We select everything, and then we're going to select every record as well. We can do a wait, and then we're going to have the data right here. Okay, so and then we can console.log the data, and then I make sure that I need to make this one as an async, and then I'm going to call this one right here. Okay, all right, great. So right now we have this one. So let's go back inside here, and so if I refresh this one. So as you can see, we'll be able to fetch this data. But right now, let's try to allow only authenticate user, and also the user need to be subscribed as well in order to read this data. So for that, let's go and inside this policy, I'm going to create a new function. So, and the new function is going to be Saas active. And then the return value is going to be bool. And then this one, we're gonna write something. This one is first, we're gonna be declare variable. So I'm gonna create a new variable. This is gonna be var and add, and the type of this one is gonna be date, and this is the begin and begin, and this one is gonna be end. So for this one, it's gonna be select and add into the var and add right here. And this one is going to be from public.subscriptions, where the email is going to be equal to auth.jwt. And then we can grab the email the user who sent this one. Okay, so we can get the email here. So right now we select the add, and then we insert into this variable right here. So here we can check, we can just return the var and add is bigger than the current date or not. Current date. Okay, so this is like the current date that we are running this one, and this is the add that we create, right? So, and security this one, so we can just use the security invoker right here since we select the subscription based on the user email right here. Great, so right now we can hit confirm on this one. Okay, so I think I misspelled this one. Let's hit confirm again. All right, so everything good. So we can copy this one. So we go back inside our post, and for the policy of this one, let's change from true to is subs active, and click on review. And so right now, as you can see, if I refresh this one, I should be able to see the data again because this user is active, right? The subscription is active. So if, for example, if I going to update the subscription to expire, which is going to be this one right here, and let's set this one, as you can see, generate this one. And if I come back here, if I refresh this one, so right now we see this page, but let's try to disable this page. So if we go back inside our code and go to our page, so let's say if for some reason the user be able to access to this post component, right? I'm gonna call this one outside, I'm gonna uncomment this one. So even though if they access this one, but if you look at the data, if we go kind of console.log, we get error, the array is none. So there's no data that returned back because the policy that we set right here is allow only the authenticate user who is subscription only that be able to access this one. I mean, the subscription who is active. That's why, as you can see, even though they access to this component, but the data is null. So right here, I'm not going to use it to render the data because this is just example. And this is like, if you work on a real application, you probably fetch this one differently. Maybe you fetch this one inside the use query, React query instead. So yeah. Alright, so I think that's pretty much it. So right now, we be able to protect our data and allow only authenticate user and subscription user to be able to access the data. And so with this function right here, so you can see this subs active, you can use this one in any policy of any table that you want to do. So for example, you create a new table and you add the policy to that one that allow, let's say, read or write the policy only allow only if the user is subscription. So that's how you do it. So for example, here, if in order to create, you need to is sub active. So is subs active, something like that. So then the user can insert into this post component if they are subscription. So if they subscribe, so they can be able to insert. This is just example, but probably in a real world application, it's probably a little bit something different. All right, so yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this series video. So right now we successfully connect with Stripe, and then we go and we be able to protect the user data based on their status, subscription status, and also we render the data based on the status as well. So yeah, I think